there, and welcome to another Coffee with Colin, and thank you for joining me. So this week was a big week. This week I worked out a very important number that's important to you and it's important to me, and that is the speed of life. The speed of life. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment, if that's okay. How it happened, how it came about was I was doing some work in Wigwam with Fiona Brennan, one of our coaches in Wigwam, and a good friend, and she had us do a little bit of personal work where she wanted us to take 5 minutes in the morning before we started our day, if you like, and get quiet and calm and just listen to the universe, really. And so I was indulging in that in advance of a Zoom meeting, a networking meeting with Midwest Mentoring. And in that, my head began to think about this idea, the speed of life. And then, as it happens in that Zoom meeting with John Loftus and a number of others, including a friend Pradeep Dabas, Pradeep was traveling to his office because it was an early morning meeting in his car. And so we could see, trees and lampposts and whatnot flying by the window. Next thing, Pradeep's phone, I presume he was recording on his phone or joining the meeting on his phone fell onto the floor of the car. And we were then looking up through the skylight and we could see clouds and whatnot passing by just for a moment. And it got me thinking about the speed of life. And I worked it out in that instant. And the speed of life, when you hear this, is 60 mph. The speed of life is 60 mph, but not miles per hour, minutes per hour. The speed of life is 60 minutes per hour for all of us. And there's only one destination, by the way, for all of us. And we're all hurtling towards that one destination at a speed of 60 minutes per hour. We can't get them back. And 60 minutes per hour is the speed of life. And everybody's granted those same 60 minutes for however long it's going to take, however long it's going to take us for us as individuals to reach the one destination that we're all headed for. Okay. It got me thinking about how do we get the most out of those 60 minutes? And you probably know, if you've been listening to my work over the last number of years, that I'm not a fan of the hustle. I'm not a fan of breaking your gut 24/7 in chase of material goal. I am a fan of figuring out what is most important to you or to me in life, and then making that a priority and working towards that. And of course, in the work we do in Wigwam, we talk about the 4 pillars that we all need to be somewhat balanced, to have a perfectly formed life, and they are health and wealth and relationships and spirit. But it's definitely not all about wealth, that's for sure. So anyway, it's 60 mph, and I shared this in the moment with the group, and Pradeep, whose skylight view had finally allowed the penny to drop in terms of the speed of life. Pradeep comes back with, which I thought was really interesting. He said, and we can get more out of the speed of life, the 60 mph, if we learn to work with experts. And if you think about that just for a second, if you think about personal training, if you think about exercising, for example, you and I can exercise and perhaps improve our health. But if we were to exercise with a professional or be led by a professional in terms of our exercise regime, well, then think about it. Doesn't it make sense? We would get more out of the 60 minutes that we might put into an exercise routine. I think that makes perfect sense. So we can actually leverage our 60 minutes and get more than 60 minutes worth out of every 60 minutes if we get focused and we figure out what is we want to achieve, and then learn from experts, learn from people who are further ahead than we are, to allow us leverage more out of whatever time we put into our health, or whatever time we put into our wealth, or whatever time we put into our relationships, or whatever time we put into ourselves, into our spirit. So I just thought it was really interesting. So the speed of life is 60 mph, which means we're traveling at a speed of 60 mph towards a predestined end. It's going to end at some point, right? And we're traveling at a speed of 60 mph, which is 1,440 minutes per day. That's the distance we travel in life. 1,440 minutes that can never be reclaimed per day. 10,080 minutes per week. And when I was working out these numbers, I figured out how many minutes we will travel in a year. And the answer is 525,600 minutes we will travel in a year. And when I wrote that number down, I started to smile because I remembered my son, Stephen, wonderful son, Stephen, who invited me to a musical. And the musical was called Rent. And if you haven't seen the musical Rent, you need to check it out. I'm going to put a link to this particular song after this. I'm going to put a link into the blog, so check it out for sure. And the song, one of the signature songs in that musical, is called Seasons of Love. And the song goes, 525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear. Now, I'm not going to sing the rest of the song, but that'll give you a flavor for it, right? You need to check it out. Check out Seasons of Love in Rent, the musical, and just, it's absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful piece. So all of this to say, the speed of life for you and for me is 60 mph, 60 minutes per hour. And we travel the distance of 60 minutes that we will never get back every hour, no matter what we do. Whether when we're asleep, we're traveling 60 mph. When we're awake, we're traveling 60 mph. The whole idea is, how do we get more out of life? How do we not waste a moment? And it really, please, it's not about more, accumulating more. It's not about going out and busting your gut to get more money to buy more things, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, just sharing my opinion with you, okay? But we are traveling at 60 mph. We are traveling at 1,440 minutes per day, never to be recouped. We are traveling at 10,080 minutes per week towards a destination. And we are traveling at 525,600 minutes per year. And we really and truly must make all of those minutes count, all of those moments count. And you may also be aware of my patchwork quilts theory that I came up with a number of years ago, which talks about the fact that a year is made up of 52 equally sized patches, i.e. 52 weeks. They're all exactly the same shape and size, but they're all different in texture and color because of what goes on in those weeks. And if you stitch 52 of them together, you've got a beautifully, I presume beautifully crafted patchwork quilts representing 1 year. And here's the thing, we have 81 patchwork quilts on average in this side of the world. I'm here in Western Europe. We've 81 patchwork quilts is the average lifespan here, this side of the world at this time. So if we've got 81 patchwork quilts, 81 times 525,600 minutes, here's the answer. 42,573,600 minutes is the total distance we will travel in minutes to the end of our lives, okay? That's 42,573,600 minutes to the end of life. And the question that I'm asking is, how many minutes have you traveled so far in life? Work it out. How many minutes have you traveled so far in life? How many minutes are you likely to have left? And you're going to make them count. I hope you are. And thank you for joining me for this week's Coffee with Colm. I really hope and trust you got something from it. Please consider what's been shared here today and apply it into your thinking for this next week. And then very importantly, please come back next week and we will share another coffee together and I'll ruminate on some other aspect of life and business. Between now and then, get some great coffee for sure. Get some fresh air, get some R and R. If you spend too much time with people, I really recommend you take some time alone and get to know yourself a little. If you spend too much time alone, I really recommend that you go meet some people. And then when the time is right, and only when the time is right, get your head back in the game, get organized for the week ahead, get stuck in, make next week count 10,080 minutes next week. And I'll see you here this time next week for another Coffee with Colm. Slàinte. I love great coffee. Talk to you soon. Take care and bye for now.